Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the brand new Netflix film starring Kevin Hart, Lift, also starring Gugu Mabella Roth, Vincent D'Onofrio, and Sam Worthington. This is an American heist comedy directed by F. Gary Gray, and I was kind of hesitant with this because of Kevin Hart. And there's no shade towards I'm not going Cat Williams on y'all. There's no shade towards him, but I didn't want to see a goofy comedy about a heist because I really enjoy heist films. Ocean's 11 and things of that nature. I love those type of heist type films, and so I wanted to kind of take this film a little seriously. And Kevin Hart, recent memory, don't take things too seriously. He's a comedian, and he is what he is. I enjoy his comedy, don't get me wrong, but I always feel that Kevin Hart is the same in every single movie. He's Kevin Hart, and that's who he is. I'm like I said, not knocking him, but some movies require a little more gravitas, if you will. And so we have F. Gary Gray directing this film. Big fan of F. Gary Gray, going all the way back to his first film, Friday. The dude has evolved from that. The Negotiator, Set It Off, A Man Apart, Law-Abiding Citizen, Straight Outta Compton. I mean, The Fate of the Furious, one of those Fast and Furious movies. I couldn't tell you if it was the third or the 17th one. I don't know which one, but he directed The Fate of the Furious, and he also directed The Italian Job. And I love The Italian Job. I thought The Italian Job was a very underrated film. It's not the greatest of movies, don't get me wrong, but once again, a nice heist film, ensemble cast, did a great job. This film has shades of that film. He brought his kind of expertise to the table for Lift, and it's very similar. Yeah, I know probably a lot of critics are comparing the two as being similar, which they are. They are similar, but they're not the same. I enjoyed this movie. I was shocked on how much I enjoyed this movie. I was expecting, like I said before, this little comedic style film that's, a Netflix throwaway type film. And that wasn't it. This is a film that, quite honestly, I could have saw in the theater. I would have paid my ticket to go see this in the theater. Kevin Hart dialed it back for this role. He wasn't the cracking joke, comedic, just goofy, out of place character. He was the leader of this group. He was the mastermind of this team of thieves. And I think he did a good job. Is it the best performance? No, it was something different, and I appreciated it for that. I honestly was expecting something that I didn't get. So throughout the film, I was just waiting for the ball to drop that he was just gonna go goofy Kevin Hart, but nah, he didn't do that. Now, as far as his performance is concerned, oh. As much as I appreciated him doing something different, it was wooden. It was you could tell he was trying too hard to be serious. You know what I'm saying? It was like he knew that he was, he couldn't be his normal self, in moments like where you would normally see him crack a joke or be goofy or whatever the case may be. You could see the wheels turning in his head, like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't. I'm being serious now. It it just showed. It just showed throughout. Now, granted, I was looking for it, so that's probably why I saw it more. But it's telling to me. It and it was not the greatest performance, even though I appreciated him going out on a limb and doing something different and not being his comedic self. Now he had jokes. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't just super serious. He did have moments of levity, but it wasn't central intelligence Kevin Hart here. We got a real person here, and I did enjoy it for the most part. The rest of the cast was decent. Nobody really stood out in this cast, but everybody did their job. It wasn't like it was bad acting. Even with Kevin Hart, it wasn't bad acting. It was just acting, and everybody just did what they did. And it was a true ensemble cast. Even though Kevin Hart is the quote unquote star of the film, everybody got their moments of shine, and I enjoyed it for that aspect of it. F. Gray's direction was all right. It wasn't his best outing as a director. Uh, those scenes where y'all maybe y'all like it, but it just bothers me to no end. Those camera shots where it just speeds up real quick and it it stops and it rotates around the characters and stuff like that. It was so much of that. I cannot stand that camera shot. And it's in every movie nowadays. And I guess I gotta learn to live with it. But it was driving me nuts as much as that camera was just a zoop, and it just stops all. I hate that shot. But the direction was all right. I actually enjoyed the actual heist in here. When we finally got to it, the balance between the setup and the heist, I think, are perfectly even in this film. The first half of this film is the setup for the heist, and the second half of the film is the complete heist. And uh, it was exciting. It was tense, and it did everything it needed to do. The villain of the film is kind of lame. It he just we didn't get a menacing type of aura from this villain, until the very end, the last shot of that character. And by that time, the movie was pretty much over. So you know what I'm saying? It just did not carry the threat that it was kind of set up to be as far as the villain is concerned. But it's made very clear that that's not the reason to see this movie. The movie is not about a villain and good versus bad, good versus evil, or however you want to quantify it. It's really about the heist. It's really about the lift. The quote unquote love story in this film, I think, was probably the best part of this movie. With Kevin Hart's character of Cyrus and Gugu Mbatha Raw as Abby. She's an Interpol agent, and I thought that was a cool little dynamic between the two. It Even though we were in a short time screen with the heist, it was already well established. They know each other. They had a romance in the past, and I thought that was set up well. And that part of the story was written fairly well. And I really liked their story. And it's earned at the end. What happens at the end is earned, and I got to tip my hat to him. Kevin Hart and Gugu Mbatha Raw have real good chemistry together. And so that was exciting to see. Great aspect of this film. Overall, I did enjoy it. Uh, I thought it was a well-made movie. It's nothing to jump up and down and scream and holler about, but it's good. It's a good watch. The laughs are where it needed to be. The tension is where it needed to be. The action is where it needed to be. Everything worked. It wasn't 100%, but it worked. And for a Netflix film, I think it exceeded expectations. I like I said to start off this review, I would have checked this out in theaters with no hesitation. I really did enjoy Lift. Lift, which is currently on Netflix right now, gets a letter grade of a B minus. I thought it was really decent, really decent. That's something I would watch again. It's it's not the one and done. I will watch this again. Probably no time in the next week or so. But if I'm not doing nothing in a couple of weeks and can't find anything to watch, I'll pop it in again with no hesitation. And so that's just my personal opinion. But I would like to know, what did you think of Lift? Did you check it out, or are you planning to check it out? It is available right now on Netflix. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, everyone, subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Kevin Hart's new heist comedy film, Lift. As always, I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love one another. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.